presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon!
With 2 seconds on the clock, he hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it! The Ducks have won!
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
Dante will dribble it out! The Ducks are Pac-12 tournament champions!
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Oregon's a Fiesta Bowl champion in a 12-win season.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Oh, it's good to be back in the chair. I'll tell you what, though. First thing I do, I sit down, I look around, and I realize that for some reason, Knight or Jerry, they sit like this. They sit so low. Like, I'm sitting at the desk. How does Knight do this? I'm taller than Knight. I look like the 12-year-old sitting at my dad's desk at work. Now, let's go back to a normal chair height. Look at that! Oh, it feels so much better. I'm Joey Mack. Thanks for joining us. Back in the saddle on a Monday. Congratulations to Oregon Duck Baseball. The Ducks regional winners. They beat Santa Barbara, the host team, not once but twice to advance to the Super Regionals. We'll find out the schedule as the NCAA baseball tournament other regionals sort themselves out. The Ducks will head to Texas A&M. Super Regionals will either start on Friday or Saturday, depending on how all the games shake out today. If you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, there's some games going on. We're watching them here in the Country Financial Studio. We'll have some updates. And we'll review what was a good weekend for Oregon Duck baseball. Shout out to Ryan Milano. He made the trip. For those of you who are unaware, I became a father for the second time just over a week ago. Thank you. Everybody is healthy, recovering, and man, it puts things in perspective. Let me just say, some of you who are tuning in probably have heard the story. It did not go according to plan, as they say. And as a father, as a husband, it puts a lot of things through your head, and I'm just glad that I can be sitting in this chair again, saying that I'm now a father of 2 beautiful sons, and my wife is recovering well, so that's a good thing. A lot of things, though, that are bigger than sports, and it also makes me realize just how fun this job is, that I wanted to come back to work after going through all of that, right? I am planning to be in Texas with Oregon baseball this weekend, hopefully talking about a long season that will be continuing. But my thanks really all season long to Ryan, who was kind enough to share that microphone with me, and it was a lot of fun doing games with him, and Ryan did a great job calling those regionals. You could hear it in his voice over the weekend, just how excited he was to be there for Oregon to win 3 games in Santa Barbara to advance for back-to-back Super Regionals for the first time in program history. First time in program history, the Ducks are going to back-to-back Super Regionals. Ironically, it's the first time that the Ducks are playing in a Super Regional not at PK Park. Remember, Kent State came to town just over 12 years ago. Just about 12 years ago now. Last year, it was Oral Roberts who pulled an upset, much like Evansville just did over East Carolina. And the Ducks, as the 3 seed in the Santa Barbara Regional, will advance to play the number 3 overall seed, Texas A&M Aggies, coming up. We'll have a full preview. Also, Oregon track and field this week, getting ready for the national championship meet at historic Hayward Field. You go to GoDucks.com, you click on the track and field section. It's got all the info you need. It starts on Wednesday, the NCAA Track and Field Championships. The Ducks have a great website all set up. If you go to GoDucks.com, get all the info. Over the weekend, too, this was pretty darn cool. The U.S. Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association Collegiate Hall of Fame features some of the greatest names in collegiate track and field history, 67 national collegiate titles, 25 collegiate records, 5 Olympic and World Championship medals, and 4 world records while in college. These athletes that were inducted this year have left an incredible mark on the sport. The class of 14 was enshrined yesterday at the Holt Center for the Performing Arts in Eugene. Induction ceremony was open to the public. I already heard from some people that were there, and they will also be honored at the 2024 NCAA Championships at Hayward Field. But some huge names, maybe none bigger, inducted over the weekend than Bill Dellinger. Of course, was at Oregon from 1953 to 1956, inducted into the Collegiate Athlete Hall of Fame in distance running. But it's safe to say that his coaching really transcends the sport as well. Collegiate Athlete Hall of Fame was established in 2022 to honor the best of the best in collegiate track and field and cross country. Hall of Fame recognizes the achievements of athletes who left a lasting mark on the sport during their time in college. It was yesterday at the Holt Center. Congratulations to all the inductees. And there's no doubt in Tracktown, USA, you're going to have a great celebration, and they did yesterday, I understand, at the Holt Center. I wish I could have been in attendance, but going to be honored coming up at the NCAA Track and Field Championships this weekend as well. And if you're curious about tickets and parking, believe me, we've gotten some questions. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And remember, the way that it works, just like in the regionals where the Ducks advanced double-digit competitors on the women's side, it's going to be staggered, right? So you get Wednesday, Friday, and then Thursday and Saturday. So you get that stagger and get the day off in between. Shuttles begin running at different times each day based on the start of different events, and tickets are still available. Just go to GoDucks.com. You can get all session and single-day tickets. The meet schedule is as follows. So for Wednesday, all of the field and combined events start a little earlier. 12:30 is when the combined events get underway. The track events start just after 4:30 for some semifinal rounds for the men. Then on Thursday, everything gets rolling a little earlier in the combined events, about 11:30. The track events start at 5:30 on Thursday. Then on Friday, back to the men's side. Everything for the combined event starts at 1. The field and track events start just about 5:20, 5:30, before on Saturday when the women conclude everything with the combined event starting at 10:30 and the track and field events both beginning right around 2 o'clock. There's your schedule at Hayward Field. Things move around, and I know it's important to have that cheat sheet, if you will. And by the way, the weather looks great at Hayward Field this weekend. There's actually a single sheet PDF that is linked on GoDucks.com. You can print it out, have that in the back pocket, maybe on your phone. It's nice to just know the schedule of these things. I've been to a lot of track and field meets, and I'm always amazed at, one, the amount of things that go on simultaneously, but then, 2, the ability of everyone in the venue to keep you updated on what's happening. And the NCAA Track and Field Championships, there's just nothing like it. I'm really looking forward to it this weekend at Hayward Field. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a little conflicted because the Ducks are going to be playing baseball in Texas. That means I'm going to miss the NCAA Track and Field Championships at Hayward Field. It just works out that way sometimes. So go in my place, will you? Scott Phillips is going to be there. Have some fun at Hayward Field. NCAA Track and Field Championships coming up this weekend. We'll hear from Jerry Schumacher, Oregon head coach, also a few of the competitors in Elliott Cook and Jaden Mays. They met with the media late in the week last week on Friday. We have those interviews for you today to preview the upcoming Track and Field Championships. Had the O Show as well. And then this is our last week of Duck Insider. The way that we always schedule Duck Insider. This week would be the Women's College World Series for Duck softball. Also the Track and Field Championships, usually at Hayward Field, going on Wednesday through Saturday. Baseball advancing to Super Regionals again this year gives us a lot, but the truth is that we always have kind of had the Track and Field Championships, which are most of the time and should always be, in my opinion, at Hayward Field. that's sort of been our end of athletic season, so it's been the end of our broadcast season. Well, with Oregon baseball competing this weekend, we will stay on the air for Duck baseball, of course, but our final Duck Insider is scheduled for Wednesday. The reason we do it that way is on Thursday and Friday, there's events going on. If you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, there's actually events going on at Hayward Field that sometimes when our radio affiliates carry the show a little later in the day, we might be previewing an event that's already happened. And, it doesn't work. So that's why we've always picked Wednesday as sort of our end of day. And everyone should just be at Hayward Field on Thursday and Friday anyway. Or you're listening to Oregon baseball on Friday, maybe Saturday, Sunday, maybe Monday. Who knows? So that's our plan for the week. Looking forward to some great year in review. Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullins on the schedule with us tomorrow, and then we'll review the season and preview what's to come in track and field and baseball here as well. And then Derek Radley, after wrapping up what was a great season, we have him scheduled to join us on the show tomorrow to review the women's golf season as we look back and then also look ahead, heading into a new era. That's right. Big things around the Casanova Center. So Oregon baseball, Friday, a gritty win in extra innings. Was looking positive for the Ducks. A great start from R.J. Gordon. Then it got a little interesting before Bryce Betcher hit that go-ahead home run in the 11th inning. I've said this probably like 10 times now. Bryce Betcher has got to be showing up on draft boards, right? Like, that guy is making diving plays in the outfield. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's hit double-digit home runs this year. Has great speed. Showed that a couple times in the regional this weekend. He has got to be shooting up some draft boards. And Bryce Betcher was the hero on Friday, a pretty special moment for the Eugene native. Then on Saturday, gritty again. UC Santa Barbara had not lost a game at home all year. All year. That's what big reason why they were the 14 overall seed in the tournament coming in. Ducks, again, the 3 seed in the regional. San Diego was the 2 seed. There were 3 conference champions in the regional. Santa Barbara, Fresno State, and San Diego. And then the Ducks finished a game out of first place in the Pac-12. They're the 3 seed. Grayson Grinsell was outstanding. Got a win over the host. Ducks were excellent on the mound again, had just enough offensively to get it done, a gritty performance to set up Sunday. Santa Barbara had to win the elimination game earlier in the day, yesterday, to earn the right to play Oregon again. And Kevin Sider was just absolutely stellar. 4-hit shutout on Sunday. Ducks got extended efforts on the mound in all 3 games on their way to win this regional. Sider, Grinsell, R.J. Gordon combined to go 23 innings, while allowing just 3 earned runs across those wins over San Diego on Friday, UCSB on Saturday, and then the Gauchos again on Sunday. Sider did not allow a base runner in scoring position until there were 2 outs in the 9th inning. And I'll be honest, the way that postseason baseball goes, I was holding my breath there. I admit it. A lot of Duck fans probably were. But Sider had not allowed a runner past first base until there were 2 outs in the 9th inning. Really impressive. 128 pitches, first complete game shutout by an Oregon starter this season. Sider only allowed 1 hit through the first 7 frames. He was better in this game than he was against Oregon State, where he had a no-hitter into the 7th. Kevin Sider is your Sunday guy. That's what Oregon baseball's rotation has been this year. They've been consistently pretty good. R.J. Gordon, Grayson Grinsell, Kevin Sider have all been really good. Saved the bullpen a bit. And I don't know. We'll hear from Mark Wasikowski coming up, but I thought it helped maybe that Grinsell and Sider didn't pitch last weekend. Sure, you'd love to play 4 games and win 4 games in the Pac-12 tournament. Ducks went 0-2 in the Pac-12 tournament. Well, they took advantage of the rest and then won some really gritty baseball games. And I think Oregon is set up to win a super regional. Anytime you get to a 4th game, a 5th game in a weekend, that's where your depth gets tested on the mound. Most teams around college baseball aren't built to win the midweeks. They're built to win those weekend series. Well, the Ducks are one of just a handful of teams across the country that have won as many weekend series as they have. Now, the issue for the Ducks all season long, the reason they finished a game out of first place, the issue wasn't winning the series. The issue was getting those critical sweeps to win a conference championship. You don't have to get a sweep in a super regional. You just got to win 2. Then the Ducks are on their way to Omaha. See what happens when Oregon plays at Texas A&M coming up. Pitching, outstanding. Ducks are headed to the Super Regionals in consecutive seasons for the first time ever. Swept through the NCAA Regional for the second year in a row. Because let's go back. Oregon went on a hot streak at the end of the year last year. Some key hitting, guys like Drew Smith really came on. Bennett Thompson at the end of the year. Key hitting for the Ducks, and then just enough pitching. Got them to the Super Regional, where ultimately a really good Oral Roberts team won. But the Ducks won their regional at Vanderbilt. This year they won their regional at UC Santa Barbara. Really good. Best of 3 matchup for a spot in the College World Series coming up. Oregon is in Super Regionals again for the second year in a row. And I keep saying that because that's becoming the standard now. That's hard to do, man. It's hard to keep getting back there. Now if you can just get that bus through, right? That's what the Ducks are looking for. The all-tournament team, too. Carter Garate. So you talk about a guy like Drew Smith, like Bennett Thompson, some others last year that came on strong at the end of the season. Well, Carter Garate did that. A single on Sunday, finished off the weekend 5 for 10, 4 runs batted in, stellar defense at third base. Regional MVP for Carter Garate. A guy hitting in the bottom of the order, a guy who struggled with runners in scoring position at times this year, was excellent and has been excellent in postseason. Grinsell and Sider were the 2 starting pitchers on the all-region team, totally deserved. Drew Smith, Bryce Betcher made the all-tournament team as well. Smith going 4 for 9 with 2 runs batted in on the weekend. Betcher had that home run that beat San Diego in the 11th on Friday. Ducks got just enough. They were complimentary of their assistant coach, Jack Martyr, and the hitting plan postgame. We'll hear from the Ducks postgame after the regional victories in Santa Barbara coming up. Track and field championships at Hayward Field. Baseball continuing, and more things to talk about. It's Duck Insider. I'm Joey Mack, and it's good to be back in the chair. Timeout. Coming back to the Country Financial Studio right after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can make the most out of summer with all your friends. Most of my friends happen to be four-legged.
Your summer starts here, but it all ends June 3rd. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCAA. Equal housing opportunity.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can make the most out of summer with all your friends. Most of my friends happen to be four-legged.
Your summer starts here, but it all ends June 3rd. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys! I love this song! I love these nachos. I love our kickball league! Ugh! I love this guy! What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Super regional bound, Oregon heading to Texas A&M. We should have the schedule tonight or tomorrow. No matter what, we'll have a pregame show 15 minutes before first pitch. Really looking forward to another super regional weekend for the Ducks. It's also dead week at the University of Oregon. Finals week next week. Graduation coming up. Award season. Good times. Congratulations, though, to Mark Wasikowski and his Ducks on what was a great regional weekend, and now poised a 3-game series upcoming against Texas A&M. There's still games going on today around college baseball, and the Ducks were so good they don't have to play today. That's the goal when you head into a regional. Mark Wasikowski talking post-game about the performance, particularly on the mound. You got to think the head coach for the Ducks pretty proud of that regional win, huh?
Maybe a week ago, we didn't play forward and 1-2, which didn't look good. And we knew we were a very good team. Lance.
Huh. Well, something happened. Mark Wasikowski was really complimentary of the way that his Ducks played. So, to come back a little bit, the Ducks all year long have talked about that tight scheduling. They've talked about a number of weekends that got away from them. Well, in this case, Oregon was really, really good on the Hill, and Kevin Sider looked like the veteran that he was. I think that veteran presence, you can't coach it. So to give you some backstory on Kevin Sider as Scott tries to figure out what happened to the computer, I think that it's important to realize that this is a guy who is a fifth-year senior, a veteran who has been working his whole life to pitch in that moment. And that's just the kind of guy that he is. He was really good against Oregon State. Really good in a regional final. When Kevin Sider is the guy that you give the ball to the third game of a weekend, I think you feel really good about it. And it's that veteran presence that matters so much, right? It's the veteran presence that helps when you get to this point in the season. Kevin Sider being a veteran, Drew Smith talking about Jack Martyr having an offensive game plan, Jacob Walsh hitting a huge home run. I didn't mention that earlier. All of those little pieces that come together at the end of the season. We'll get a timeout. I want to make sure that we fix our playback machine. Computers suck. We'll also hear a little bit more from track and field. Quick timeout. Earlier than anticipated. Maybe we'll have extra innings on the show today. I don't know. Coming back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere.
Maybe
so
a
if
week
you're high,
ago.
just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
We fixed it! Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Now you're going to hear a little bit more from Waz here in the Country Financial Studio. Kevin Sider, Drew Smith, Jacob Walsh. And then, to be honest with you, a lot of the points that I made, it's amazing when you get to this time of year, and it can be that one thing that ends up being this huge moment that we all remember in the postseason, but it's usually a collection of things. And that's kind of what Mark Wasikowski's talking about here when he was asked about performance and especially pitching on the hill. Some of Mark Wasikowski sitting at the podium postgame.
Maybe a week ago, we didn't play poorly in the Pac-12 tournament, but our record indicated that we were 0-2, which didn't look good. And we knew we were a really good team. We finished one game out of first place in the Pac-12 conference. We could have won one more game and won the conference and had several opportunities to do so throughout the year. And so we knew that we were a really good club. We knew that we didn't play poorly at the Pac-12 tournament. We went 0-2. But maybe one of the greater blessings was the fact that two of the pitchers that pitched exceptionally well last two nights, Kevin and Grayson Grensel, both, they didn't pitch in the Pac-12 tournament because we got bounced in two games, and maybe that rest helped them. They've both been outstanding here down the stretch, and so I don't know if that was the full key, but I don't think it hurt. And for the strength of Kevin to finish that game off in the ninth inning, he would have punched us if we tried to come and take the ball away from him, and he deserved the opportunity to win that game on his own out there with his teammates defensively. And I'm just really proud of Kevin. He came a long ways. This is why he came here. He felt like he could help us get to Omaha, and we're not there yet, but we're one step closer now with a tremendous performance from him.
That's Mark Wasikowski sitting at the podium talking about all those different things, right? Like, it's a combination. And the Ducks have had so many opportunities throughout the year to have that big-time win. Now we're sitting here talking about getting one of those big-time wins, in large part because of Kevin Sider. Again, 128 pitches, first complete game shutout of the year. Did not allow a base runner into scoring position until the Gauchos were down to their last out of the game. And here's Kevin Sider being a veteran. He gets asked about what's working for him, what worked so well for him. Listen to how he answers that question. This is the veteran. This is what I'm talking about. You don't coach this necessarily. Like, this is just Kevin Sider, who he is.
First off, I just want to thank the university and the greater Santa Barbara area for being such good hosts for this tournament. Obviously, the quality of baseball, like Coach Ball said, was phenomenal. Just to be a part of it was a blessing. Again, I want to thank Coach for giving me the opportunity, giving me the ball today, and sticking with me through that. That's right on. That's awesome. Listen, I thought today's team effort was outstanding. From the first inning on, my guys were making plays behind me, left and right. It was really fun to watch, and just to be a part of something like that is really special. Obviously, pitch-wise, my fastball was working pretty well, and I had my breaking stuff, which was great. But I don't want to take away from the team effort at all. That was one of the best things I've ever seen. It was so fun to be a part of.
It's a 46-second clip, and for like 8 seconds toward the end, Kevin Sider says, yeah, my pitches were working well. I mean, that's a veteran answer right there, right? Hey, thanks for being great host. Thanks for the team behind me. Special to be a part of something like that's the team atmosphere. You got that guy going in a potential season on the line kind of game in a 3-game series. I think I feel pretty doggone good about it coming off this performance. 128 pitches, complete game shutout for Kevin Sider. And then, look, let's be real. Mark Wasikowski said that maybe the rest helped a little bit. Kevin Sider going deep into the game. What do you think he credits that to? You think he said it was all him? Kevin Sider going deep.
I felt great. I take a lot of pride in being able to pitch late into games. And obviously my coaching staff had the utmost confidence in me to do so, and they kept letting me know that it was my game. So like I said before, I'm really appreciative of that. I got a shout out Daryl Hunter, our strength coach. He's been getting us right, getting us conditioned, the stuff that maybe us starters don't really want to do, but we're going to do it anyway. Obviously it feels good to pitch late in games, and I'm proud of myself for that.
Shout out Daryl Hunter, the local Eugene area product, Thurston. Daryl is the strength and conditioning coach pitched for Oregon baseball. Kevin Seider shouts out him. He takes pride going deep into games and shouts out all the people around him. That's just kind of the way that things go when you get to this point in the year. Takes a village. I always say it. Now, that's the pitching side. Then, offensively, the Ducks did just enough to win all these games. Close, competitive, gritty, whatever you want to say. Well, Drew Smith gave credit to some of the coaching and that offensive plan that led to success for the Ducks this weekend.
Yeah, we definitely didn't do what we wanted to do in the Pac-12 tournament offensively, but we were definitely sticking with the plans that Martin gave us. And, he works tirelessly to get us right and have a really good plan for us going into the games. And I think that's what we did all weekend. Really stuck to the plan and really just got after it with good at-bats and just really getting after it.
Drew Smith talking about Jack Martyr is who he's saying there. He's the assistant coach, coaches first for the Ducks, does a lot of the offensive film and scouting. Give a lot of credit to those coaches that put in an awful lot of time, making sure that everything is the way that the Ducks want it to be. And then talking about a guy who has been truthfully a little bit cold. It was about a month since Jacob Walsh hit his 17th home run of the season, which put him one shy of Sabine Ceballos' program record from last year. Well, Walsh got some insurance for the Ducks late in the game yesterday. Home run, number 18. He's tied with Sabine Ceballos now atop the list. Single-season home run record. And he faced the same reliever in back-to-back games. Reed Mooring struck him out on Saturday. Then on Sunday, Jacob Walsh, I think, felt pretty good hitting the home run and felt pretty good about the matchup in round 2.
Just sticking to my plan. Coaches work all day, all night to come up with a plan for us to be successful, and all I can do is stick to it, and that's going to help me, succeed on the field. And it's the guys are giving me feedback. Coming in the dugout after at bats was great. Just stuck to the plan, and it ended up working. Last night he came at me with the same pitch, and I told myself I wasn't going to miss it again tonight.
He didn't miss it, did he? Nope, didn't miss it. Jacob Walsh is one of the more humble guys, and he credited the plan, right? One of the more humble guys that you're gonna hear from. It's kind of the theme of this. Ducks put in a lot of work, and it's the culmination that leads to victories like that in a regional. Shout out to Ryan. He ran down after his postgame show to film some of that and give us a little bit of the thoughts from the guys. He was sitting in the back of the room with his phone filming it. So thanks, Ryan. I appreciate you getting us something there postgame. Now, here's just a little fun from the broadcaster's seat, okay? So we all know that West Coast baseball, there's less teams, there's less crossover. As a result, this thing called the RPI, which is a computer metric that ranks teams. Well, the Ducks were the lowest RPI team in the field. They were 52 in the RPI coming into the tournament, if I remember right. Ducks were a 3 seed, those 3 West Coast Conference champions. It's regional based. You play teams that are around you. I get all that. Mark Wasikowski, though, was asked about that, and well, we pulled out just the part that I think was the most telling from Coach Waz when he got asked about all those things, the RPI, being a 3 seed, and everything else. Here's what Waz said.
Pretty clear that the RPI was flawed this year.
Play that one more time. Just one more time for everybody. It was quick.
Pretty clear that the RPI was flawed this year.
Huh. Well, maybe it's time for us to not use the RPI. In the human polls, as we say, and the reporter who asked that question actually even phrased it in this way. Like, in the human polls, you're regarded as a better team than that. You end up as a 3 seed. Does the 3 versus the 2 really matter in an individual region, especially on the West Coast when you're probably going to stay pretty regional anyway? I don't know. That's a question for the committee. And look, I play this, and I want to be clear about this because I don't want anybody to yell at me. I play this a little tongue-in-cheek because I think we all kind of agree that it's an imperfect thing, the RPI that is, and the rankings and the metrics that go into it. And so here's me, the broadcaster, saying, like, we revised the net. In basketball, I think the net is a better ranking system than the RPI, but the net is imperfect. It has to do a lot with your metrics, and so if you win a game by 11 points, that means a lot more than if you win a game by 9 points. And it's like, well, maybe if you just dribbled it out instead of putting up another shot or two at the end of the game, like that hurts your ranking. That doesn't make sense to me either. That's why there's a committee, but there's so much information out there now. There's so many things to review. I'll just say this to the committee members, and I've talked to committee members. There are people here that work at Oregon that have been on these committees, and I'm like, how do you do this? There's so much information. There's so much data. That's a tough job. Tough job. But that's why the committee's there to make these selections. And Oregon, I think, demonstrated, and I realize all of this, if you're not a Pac-12 fan, someone's going to throw this right back in my face and say, well, Arizona went 2 in barbecue, and they hosted a regional, and they were the conference tournament champs and the regular season champs. I know. Yes, I know that. And Oregon State's playing right now if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour. The Pac-12 may only have one team. It could be Oregon that could advance here. We'll see if the Beavs win or not. I don't know. Do I have the right answer? No. But I do know that, as Mark Wasikowski said, the RPI just it doesn't work for everything. Gives you an idea, but it doesn't work for everything. One more time, maybe, just for good measure. Mark Wasikowski asked about the RPI, things of that nature.
Pretty clear that the RPI was flawed this year.
It's a guy who knows a thing or two about baseball. He knows more about baseball than I'll know in my entire lifetime. And, yeah. I don't know why I'm on this so much, but I just feel like it has to, we have to find a way to make this easier to rank these things. And, it's funny. In some ways, I wish the RPI didn't exist at all. I wish that all of these rankings, the net rankings, I kind of wish that we just didn't look at it at all. Could you imagine if all of us just said, nope, we're not going to look at any of that stuff, and then we're going to go and just have the committee put out their best teams? I don't hate that idea. Maybe I'll stop looking at it next year. Maybe I'll stop. Maybe I'll stop. Maybe I will. You know what? This is my challenge to myself, to not look at the RPI at all next year. We'll let Ryan do that. Ryan can be the one that looks at the RPI. I won't look at it. Track and field championships are at Hayward Field this week. We're going to hear from the head coach, Jerry Schumacher, when we come back. Ducks and Texas A&M Super Regionals for Oregon baseball. We'll have the schedule hopefully tonight, tomorrow. Either way, we'll have all the broadcasts for you here on the Oregon Sports Network. And when we come back, talking track and field. Next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can make the most out of summer with all your friends. Most of my friends happen to be four-legged.
Your summer starts here, but it all ends June 3rd. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCAA. Equal housing opportunity.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can make the most out of summer with all your friends. Most of my friends happen to be four-legged.
Your summer starts here, but it all ends June 3rd. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking.
But even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack with you in the Country Financial Studio. Track and field NCAA Championships are at Hayward Field beginning on Wednesday, running through Saturday. Women and men alternating schedule. Men and women, actually, is the better way to say that, alternating schedule. And I want to clarify something. I said that the Ducks were the lowest RPI in the field, lowest at-large RPI in the field for Oregon baseball. They were 52, I think, in the RPI coming in. The Ducks were not the lowest RPI, because there's a lot of conference champions in the non-power conferences, for example, that have a RPI that's below Oregon's, for example. But at large, yeah, makes sense, right? With the way that the West Coast, because of the way the metric works, that's why it ends up that way. Anyway, details for the NCAA Championships available, GoDucks.com. Tickets are on sale, a single day, full meet. Women of Oregon at the NCAA Championships. We're going to hear from Jaden Mays. She's competing in the 100 and the 200. Mia Barnett, the Ducks in total sending 14 on the women's side and then 5 on the men's side. Head coach Jerry Schumacher, and every time we talk with a head coach, it's brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. Coach Schumacher, preview.
Just your thoughts on next week, and obviously hosting. This is probably your first time hosting the championships, right?
Yeah, for sure.
What does that mean to you, and what does that look like for your team?
Yeah, obviously super excited to host the NCAAs. Hayward Field historically has done an amazing job with hosting big meets and big championship efforts. I think this will be no different. The weather looks like it's going to be great. I know all the other teams are always excited to come here. I hear that in any championship or any competition we go to, I always hear about how great we put on meets here. So between the community and the fan base and the officials and just how everything is organized, we have a great reputation here. So it's exciting.
What are your thoughts on the women's team? And they obviously have lots of chances to score lots of points. You know, just kind of maybe your assessment of them going into this meet.
Yeah, so the women, we have 14 entries out of the, there's 13 events represented, but 14 entries in 21 out of the 21 events, which is really deep to cover that many events and have that kind of depth on your team. You know, there's a few teams that have more entries. I'm not sure if I saw that they had more different events represented. They might have more entries, but I'm not so sure they have 13 events represented. So we cover a lot of different bases at the competition. You know, the women did a phenomenal job at the Pac-12s. We covered a lot of different event areas. I think we had 6 Pac-12 champions between Jaden in the 100 and 200, Jada in the disc and the shot. We won, what else did we win? We won, what else did we win? Shelby. Oh yeah, Shelby in the hammer, the 4x4 that set a championship record. So I knew we had 6 Pac-12 champions, and that was phenomenal. Now, all of those athletes are ranked really high. I mean, Jaden's obviously doing phenomenal in the 100 and 200. Jada will come back with the shot and disc, and obviously being the national record holder in the shot put. And I'm sure everyone saw the 20-meter throw from regionals, which is just mind-blowing. First athlete to ever throw 20 meters, which is incredible in the shot. And then obviously we have a lot of other events between the 4x1, the 4x4. Chayla's in the high jump, Shelby's in the hammer, which I know she's ranked really high. We have the 2 1,500-meter runners with Claudia and Mia. Shalon's in the 5K. Katie's in the steeple. We cover a lot of different areas, and it's going to be a good meet for us.
What about for the men?
Yeah, the men, I thought we did a really nice job improving at the Pac-12 meet this year. We went from, I believe, 6th to 4th place, and it wasn't a distant fourth. So it was a fourth that you could really feel the momentum. We returned basically everybody from that team for next year. And we're really just in that building process of getting better. We have five entries, or I think we have 5 entries for the NCAAs this weekend. We have the 1500 meter runners with Elliot, Reinhardt, and Tom, and then Raphael in the decathlon, and then PJ in the 100. And I think all of those athletes had very good conference meets. Raphael and PJ and Elliot won 4 events between them at the Pac-12 Championships. So I thought they had a great showing, and then obviously filling in with Reinhardt and Thomas with picking up some spots. I think they'll have a nice showing here as well, especially in front of the home crowd.
Do you think Elliot has it in him to kind of move up the standings right now? I think he's maybe 11th right now.
11th? I don't look at the rankings as being, that's where they're going to finish, but everything I've seen from Elliot this season, I think he's going to be really competitive. Now, the 1500 is a super tough event, and you maybe get one mistake in it, and if you make 2, you're probably not going to finish where you're supposed to. But he's running really well, and he's older. He's got a lot of tactical awareness. He's been doing things right in his competitions. I think if he does that, I think he's going to have a very good showing.
I know you'd like to have Aaliyah McCormick and Maddie Elmore out there as well. Does that add any more pressure on the other women to get those points, especially with all the entries you guys have?
Yeah, it definitely hurt. I mean, we lost some big points from our national team. I felt like losing Maddie Elmore and Aaliyah McCormick and Elisa Hickey, those were big losses to our national team. I thought they were really big losses to us at the conference level, and our women just stepped up amazing. If you would have said that you're not going to get any points from those 3 athletes at the conference meet, I would have said it's going to be a really almost impossible battle to win, to beat USC. Yet the women came up in every place, and they just stepped up their game, and from a lot of different areas and a lot of different places, and they pulled out the win. So I wouldn't count out the Ducks this weekend.
Coach. Yeah, good.
What else happened? What happened to Maddie? She strained her.
She has a strained calf. Yeah, soleus.
So she had done that sort of heroic double at the Oregon Twilight, where she ran the 15 and then paced Talia through every lap of the 5.
Yep.
Was that when she hurt her leg?
We think it was. She didn't feel it until probably midweek, right before the conference meet. So she came off the meet okay. So could have the meet contributed to it? It's possible, maybe. It's hard to say. If she had felt it the day after, it'd be a little bit easier to pinpoint to that. But it was like Tuesday, Wednesday, where she was like, something's not feeling right in my soleus. So it's hard to say, really. Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to it. They just pop up, and the timing is really unfortunate, though.
Jerry Schumacher, Oregon coach for track and field, getting ready for the NCAA Championships. Some good news and bad news, as you heard there from Coach Schumacher. He met with the media late in the week on Friday last week, previewing the NCAA Track and Field Championships coming your way at Hayward Field beginning on Wednesday. When we come back, let's hear a bit from Elliot Cook. Ducks getting ready for those NCAA Championships. One of the competitors when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCAA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans,
Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Join Mac in the Country Financial Studio. The men of Oregon at the NCAA Championships, one of 5 competing, 1,500 meters. Elliott Cook, he met with the media on Friday, previewing the NCAA Championships this week at Hayward Field.
All right, Elliott, I guess it's the last time we spoke to you, postseason started.
Yeah.
So just kind of talk about, to begin with, how your postseason's kind of rounded in shape and kind of got you ready for this week, or next week.
I mean, Coach has always been kind of setting up our season to get us ready for the postseason. As we've seen, Jerry's doing what he does best, and he's getting us ready when we need to be. And yeah, obviously we're seeing that with the way our guys are performing at the conference level, and then obviously regionals, getting three guys through in the 1,500 was huge. So yeah, I mean, everybody's firing really well, firing on all cylinders, and yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes.
Is a 1,500 such an interesting race because it can either be really tactical and slow, or it could be really fast? I mean, how do you mentally prepare for both and to have yourself ready for either one on any given day?
Yeah, in my mind, you're preparing the same way as you would tactical or a blistering pace. In my mind, either way, anybody can win the race. I think when it's super fast, you've got a few guys that are going to be more of a favorite, but everybody's got to show up on the same day and all perform in the same race, and you don't know who's showing up on which day. In a tactical race, there's a lot more variables at play. Anybody really can win that way. But like I said, I'm going in knowing that anybody can win the 1,500. I mean, it's been shown in so many levels. You look at Centro and Rio, stuff like that. There's so many examples of, people coming into races and being able to pull off an upset because of the fact that it is the 1,500. It's kind of that marquee event. And I think that's why it's so entertaining to watch. It's just, you can go in and you can be ranked last and you can come out ahead because you played your cards right better than everyone else. So.
With that same thought process, do you look at the athletes who are ahead of you who have run faster this year and think to yourself, it might take a PR, or it probably will have to take a PR?
Yeah, going into regionals, I was thinking the same way. I was thinking regional final, I was expecting to PR. Just with the guys that were in the field, I figured we weren't going to mess around, but it wasn't anything too fast, but I was really happy with the way that 340 felt. But yeah, I'm going in knowing that, there's a decent chance I'll probably PR. But as the season's developed, on paper, I'm a 338 guy. I don't see myself as that anymore. I've run it too many times. I've run 355 too many times. I have to assume that things are going to come around at the right time and I'm going to have a breakthrough. And each time I run 355 or 338, the race slows down for me. So I think when it comes time, I can definitely pull something out. So,
what did it mean to take the win in Boulder?
Yeah, that was an unbelievable race. Everything kind of came together mentally and physically. And obviously I had a race plan going in, and we knew it was going to be tactical. It was, that was the easiest call in the world. We knew it was going to be a slow race. So I knew going in I needed to sit pretty in the front and waste the least amount of energy possible, which I did perfectly. And then I trusted my foot speed enough to, if anyone's going to challenge me in the last 400 meters, I was going to match the move, and that's what I did. So, yeah.
Jerry mentioned earlier that in the 1,500, you might have a chance, not you individually, but anybody in the field might be able to make one mistake, but not two.
Yes.
How do you have that in your head when you go into a race, knowing that it almost has to be perfect?
Yeah, that's especially as you make your way further into the season, you have less mistakes that you can make, and you can really only make like one mistake in a championship race like that if you expect to win. and given the fact that, yeah, there's a decent chance I don't have to PR in a race like this to, even, let's say a top 3 finish or something like that, I'm going to have to execute to the best of my ability and make very few errors. And if I can do that, I trust myself over anybody in the field. If we're running fast, errors are even more costly. You don't want to find yourself in lane 2. You don't want to find yourself pressing when you don't need to be, just stuff like that. But Jerry and I have been working hard in that regard when, we're talking at practice, when we're just kind of going through different scenarios in our heads and just talking to each other about it. He's kind of gotten me in the right place mentally to know what to expect, or to at least know what to anticipate when the race unfolds. So.
You ever had to dive across the finish line like Jakob last night?
That was unbelievable. I thought Cherry got him for sure, but that was honestly pretty well timed, I would say. If it comes down to a dive, that would be awesome. I would love to see that. But yeah, I mean, if it takes a dive to win, I'm gonna be the one diving, so that'd be fun. But hopefully, it doesn't take that.
What is the kind of message? Was there a message from Jerry? Because, when it comes to the men's side, it's kind of the opposite of the women, in effect, not as many entries, but you guys can still, make some noise with what you do with those entries.
Well, I would say especially with the 1500 crew that we've got lined up, if we can get everybody in the final, which I fully expect us to, we got 3 ducks in the final lined up. Regardless of how that plays out in the final, we still got 3 in the national final at 1500. And that's just huge for our program. I think that's a huge stepping stone for us, and moving forward, going to next season, just understanding that and appreciating that and kind of letting it motivate us will be huge. So yeah, there's less at stake in terms of anything we can do as a team, but it's more about like the guys who are there are really the ones like leading the charge and getting us to the right place for next year. So.
That's Elliott Cook meeting with the media ahead of the NCAA Track and Field Championships at Hayward Field this week. Those others, Reinhard Harrison and Thomas Palfrey in the 1,500 meters that he's alluding to. The Ducks have 3 that could potentially be competing in the final in that 1,500. Makes for a fun race, one that you circle when you got 3 Ducks competing in the same event. 14 entries for the women of Oregon and 5 total entries for the men of Oregon at the NCAA Championships coming your way at Hayward Field here this weekend. Well, the O Show over the weekend as well. The Ducks honored with a lot of internal awards. One of those was in Folly Dante. And here's hoping that we just get some good news around in Folly Dante. I just thought I'd close up the show today with that. Seemed like the right thing to do. Tomorrow, Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullins will be with us for Athletic Director Tuesday. See you then.
Hey, son. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics.